My best friend pulled off my wig, laughed, then faked a charity in my name. When I begged her to stop using my diagnosis for clout, she smirked and said, "Cancer pays well, doesn't it?" I didn't say a word. That was 6 weeks ago. This morning, she was screaming outside my building, while her last brand dropped her mid-live stream. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma when I was just 23 years old. I didn't tell anyone because the last thing I wanted was for anyone to treat me differently, but my balding gave me away. So when my friend Vanessa came over and saw my entire wig fall off, I had to tell her the truth. At first she started laughing, but when I told her it wasn't a joke, her eyes welled up with tears. "I'm so sorry, baby girl. I love you. We can make it through this." I hugged her back and she proceeded to pull my wig off again. This made me smile, and I was confident that she wouldn't treat me like I was made of glass. Well, the cancer started getting worse. I literally looked like one of those zombies from Plants vs. Zombies. So when Vanessa texted to confirm whether or not I could attend her birthday, I told her no, and proceeded to Zelle her $300 as an apology / early birthday gift. My explanation? I had chemo booked for Saturday morning and her party was that evening. Pretty effing solid, right? Well, Vanessa didn't think so. Isn't that a little selfish? It's like a 2-second procedure. I'm sure the time between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. will be enough time to recover. It's like 3 hours, and I'm gonna be so tired I don't want to drag the mood down. I'm sorry, I responded. I thought it would end there, but it didn't. Vanessa told me that if I didn't want people to treat me differently for having cancer, then I shouldn't use it as an excuse to be a poopy friend. I didn't even reply to that, because I knew if the conversation continued, I had a 100% chance of saying something I'd regret. And as predicted, I ended up resting all day. I felt like an animal in hibernation or something, but I woke up to 37 missed calls and over 99 unanswered texts. As I scrolled through, I saw that everyone was texting me asking if I was okay, asking why I never told them. An anonymous account had even started a GoFundMe with a photo of my face attached. Anger boiled my blood. Vanessa had announced to everyone that I had cancer, so I called her, and she immediately picked up. "Vanessa, what the actual F? I hope you're calling to thank me," she interrupted. "Everyone at my birthday was talking about what a selfish bitch you were for not showing up, and I defended you by telling them the truth." I immediately knew she wasn't telling the full story. "Okay, Vanessa, and why did they think I was a selfish bitch?" "Because at first, I told them you couldn't come because you wanted to watch some TV." Her voice was dripping with fakeness, but I couldn't slap her through the screen, so I settled for hanging up. That day was literally every nightmare I ever had come true. All of the girls I hated were reposting the anonymous GoFundMe on Instagram, captioned with the amount they had donated, and at least 1/3 of the texts were people sending me TikTok links to holistic healing BS. One was literally of a girl saying she cured her stage 4 lung cancer from drinking celery juice, with a commission link in bio for the magic blender she used. All this made me want to isolate myself even more, especially from Vanessa. I didn't reply to anyone except my mom, who asked if I was doing okay. Honestly, that month without Vanessa and her Paw Patrol was pretty peaceful. It gave me a lot less to think about and meant I could rest more. I also had more money, because I didn't have to Zelle people all the time to compensate for not spending time with them. This also meant Vanessa had a lot more money too, because on her Instagram stories she would update her followers every day on how I was doing, and claim that she was the only one I was willing to talk to. Of course, linked in every story was a link to a charity I'd never heard of before. It claimed to support all my daily expenses. We both knew it was a lie, but I didn't have the energy to deal with her. Honestly, my plan was to just let her do her thing. But when donations began to dwindle, she upped her game. At my expense, of course. She started taking old photos she had of me and using AI to edit them. She'd Photoshop them and make it look like I was on death's doorstep, and tell everyone I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and if I didn't get life-saving, very expensive surgery within the next week, I was guaranteed to die. That's when I finally decided that enough was enough. I told her if she didn't take it down, I would expose her for her past BS. She didn't respond, but she did take it down. Well, kinda. 3 days later, I woke up to see that she had simply adjusted her angle. With the use of fake screenshots and old photos of me, Vanessa told her 300,000 followers that I had faked cancer, that I did it all for the money. I also noticed my phone had been bombarded with dozens of texts and missed calls. The first voicemail was angry. The second was threatening. By the 10th, I had already decided to ruin Vanessa's life. I can't tell you what I did next in this short video. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, watching the shadows from my blinds make patterns as cars drove by outside. I was trying to process how my best friend had turned on me like this. My phone kept buzzing with notifications. I finally turned it off completely. I needed to think. The next morning, I dragged myself to my oncologist appointment. Dr. Patel, a kind woman in her 50s with gentle hands and a no-nonsense attitude, noticed something was off right away. My blood pressure was higher than usual, and I couldn't stop fidgeting during our checkup. I broke down and told her everything. She listened patiently, then offered to help. She said she could provide documentation proving my diagnosis if I needed it. I almost cried from relief. When I got home, I turned my phone back on. The messages had doubled. Some people were calling me a scammer, others were defending me. It was chaos. I saw that #cancerscammer was trending locally on Twitter. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. I decided to start with damage control. I took photos of my medical records, with personal info blacked out, and my prescription bottles lined up on my bathroom counter. I posted them on my Instagram with a simple caption, "The truth. I have cancer. Vanessa has been lying about me." Within minutes, Vanessa texted me, "Take that down now or I'll sue you for defamation." Her message was followed by 3 angry face emojis. I ignored her. Instead, I started messaging our mutual friends one by one, explaining the situation and showing them proof. Most were shocked. A few didn't believe me at first. but slowly, people started to understand. Then Vanessa upped her game. She posted a video of herself crying, mascara strategically smudged under her eyes, claiming I had manipulated her and that she had evidence I was faking. The video got thousands of views. People I didn't even know were DMing me horrible things, calling me everything from attention seeker to psychopath. I felt like I was drowning. I couldn't eat or sleep. My mom noticed and insisted on staying with me for a few days. Having her there helped, but I still felt completely overwhelmed. The next day, I got a text from Terry, a guy who had dated Vanessa briefly last year before she dumped him for a DJ with better connections. He said he had information that might help me. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop near my apartment. Terry looked nervous when he arrived. He kept checking over his shoulder like he expected Vanessa to pop out of nowhere. He told me Vanessa had pulled similar stunts before. She had claimed her previous roommate had a rare sickness and collected money for her too. The roommate had moved out and cut all contact with Vanessa. She's done this before? I asked, feeling sick to my stomach, the chai latte I'd ordered sitting untouched between us. Terry nodded. She thrives on attention and money, obviously. He showed me screenshots of conversations where Vanessa had bragged about how much money she was making from my cancer fund. She had even bought herself a new designer bag with the donations, posting it on her private Finsta account with the caption, "Cancer pays well." I felt a mix of rage and determination. This wasn't just about me anymore. She was scamming people who genuinely wanted to help someone with cancer. That was a new level of awful. I thanked Terry and went home to make a plan. I needed to be smart about this. Vanessa had a bigger platform than me, but I had the truth on my side. First, I created a document with all the evidence, medical records, screenshots of Vanessa's contradicting posts, Terry's information, and statements from my doctor. Then I reached out to Angela, a mutual friend who worked at a local news website. I asked if she'd be willing to help me tell my story. Angela was hesitant at first, worried about getting involved in drama, but when I showed her everything I had, she agreed. We spent hours putting together a comprehensive article exposing Vanessa's lies. The night before the article was set to publish, I could barely sleep. I kept imagining Vanessa's reaction and all the potential fallout. What if people still didn't believe me? What if this made everything worse? My phone rang at 6 a.m. It was Angela. Vanessa somehow found out about the article, she said, her voice tense. She's threatening to sue the website if we publish it. My heart sank. Of course Vanessa would try to stop this. I asked Angela what we should do. The editor wants to meet with you today, she said. Bring all your evidence. I spent the morning gathering everything. Medical bills, doctor's notes, screenshots, everything I could think of. I met Angela and her editor Frank at their office downtown. Frank reviewed everything carefully. This is solid, he said finally. We're running the story, but be prepared for backlash. I nodded, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. There was no turning back now. I got home from the meeting with Frank and Angela feeling like I was about to throw up. Not from chemo this time, but from pure anxiety. The article was scheduled to go live the next morning at 9 a.m. I checked my phone and saw 3 missed calls from Vanessa. I ignored them and turned my ringer off. I needed to prepare myself for whatever storm was coming. My mom had made soup while I was out. She didn't ask questions when I came in looking like I'd seen a ghost, just handed me a bowl and sat with me at the kitchen table. I told her about the article, and she squeezed my hand. Whatever happens, I'm here, she said. Those 5 simple words meant everything. I tried to sleep that night but ended up staring at my ceiling until 4 a.m., playing out every possible scenario in my head. By the time my alarm went off at 8:30, I felt like a zombie. I made coffee with shaking hands and opened my laptop. At exactly 9:01 a.m., Angela texted me a link. The headline read, "Exclusive. Local influencer accused of faking friend's cancer for profit." My stomach did a flip as I clicked on it. The article was comprehensive. It laid out everything. My real diagnosis, Vanessa's escalating lies, the fake GoFundMe accounts, everything. Angela had even managed to track down Vanessa's former roommate, Melissa, who confirmed Terry's story about Vanessa's previous scams. There were screenshots, quotes from my doctor, with my permission, and even financial records showing where some of the donation money had actually gone, straight into Vanessa's Venmo account. My phone started blowing up almost immediately. I turned it off completely and curled up on my couch, pulling a blanket over my head like I used to do as a kid when I was scared. My mom brought me tea and sat next to me, not saying anything, just being there. Around noon, I finally turned my phone back on. I had 147 text messages, 53 missed calls, and hundreds of Instagram notifications. I took a deep breath and started scrolling. Most of the messages were supportive. People I hadn't heard from in years were reaching out to apologize for believing Vanessa. A few were still angry, convinced I was the liar, but the tide was definitely turning. Then I saw Vanessa's response. She'd gone live on Instagram about an hour after the article dropped. I clicked on the saved video with trembling fingers. She was crying dramatically, her makeup perfectly smudged for maximum sympathy effect. "I can't believe someone I loved like a sister would do this to me," she sobbed. "I was only trying to help her. If I got some details wrong, it's because she was so secretive about her condition." The comments were mixed. Some people were calling her out, posting links to the article. Others were defending her, saying I was just jealous of her popularity. It was surreal watching people debate my cancer diagnosis like it was a plot point in a reality show. My phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. "You're dead meat, cancer girl." I felt a chill run down my spine. I showed it to my mom, who immediately called the police. They took a report but said there wasn't much they could do unless the threats became more specific. That night, someone threw an egg at my apartment window. I heard the splat and peeked through the blinds to see a car speeding away. I couldn't tell who it was, but I had a pretty good guess. I took a photo of the egg dripping down my window and sent it to Angela. She added it to the online version of the article. The next morning, I had my regular chemo appointment. I I was terrified to leave my apartment, but my mom insisted on driving me. When we arrived at the cancer center, I kept my head down, afraid someone might recognize me from the article. As I settled into my usual chair by the window, my phone buzzed. It was a DM from @RealityCheck blog, a popular local gossip account. "We have evidence Vanessa has been scamming people for years. Can we talk?" I showed the message to my mom, who looked skeptical. "Be careful," she warned. "This could be a trap." I messaged back asking for more details. While waiting for a response, I scrolled through my other messages. One caught my eye. It was from Alexa, a girl who had been in Vanessa's inner circle for years. "I need to talk to you. V isn't who everyone thinks she is." After my chemo session, feeling weak but determined, I agreed to meet Alexa at a quiet cafe near my apartment. My mom insisted on sitting at a nearby table, pretending to read a book while actually keeping watch. I was too tired to argue. Alexa showed up looking nervous, constantly checking over her shoulder. She was prettier in person than in her Instagram photos, with natural freckles she usually filtered out. She ordered a green tea and leaned in close. "I've been friends with Vanessa since elevated school," she whispered. "She's always been intense, but this is next level." Alexa told me Vanessa had been using the donation money to pay for a luxury apartment downtown, one she definitely couldn't afford on her part-time yoga instructor salary. She showed me photos of Vanessa shopping at Nordstrom the same day she posted a tearful video about taking me to chemo. "The worst part is," Alexa said, stirring her tea nervously, "she's done this before. There was a guy in college she claimed had leukemia. She raised thousands for him. He didn't even exist." I felt sick. "Why are you telling me this now?" Alexa looked down. "Because I helped her. I designed some of the graphics for her fundraisers. I didn't know they were fake at first, I swear. But when I figured it out and confronted her, she threatened to tell everyone I cheated my way through college. I wasn't sure whether to believe her. It seemed convenient that she was coming forward now that the tide was turning against Vanessa, but the details matched what Terry had told me. "I have proof," Alexa said, sliding her phone across the table. She showed me text conversations where Vanessa explicitly talked about making up details about my condition to get more donations. There were also bank statements showing transfers from the GoFundMe account to Vanessa's personal account. "Can I screenshot these?" I asked. Alexa nodded. "Take whatever you need. I'm done protecting her." I sent everything to Angela immediately. She responded within minutes. "This is gold. We're running a follow-up tomorrow." That night, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Is this the cancer faker?" A male voice slurred. I recognized it as Chad, one of Vanessa's on-again, off-again hookups. "Chad, I'm not faking anything," I said tiredly. "Vanessa's crying her eyes out because of you," he continued. "You should be ashamed." I hung up and blocked the number. 10 minutes later, my doorbell rang. I peeked through the peephole to see Chad swaying in my hallway, clearly intoxicated. My mom called 911 while I sat with my back against the door, heart pounding. The police came quickly and escorted Chad away. They asked if I wanted to press charges, but I was too exhausted to deal with more drama. I just wanted him gone. The second article dropped the next morning. This one was even more damning, with Alexa going on record about Vanessa's history of scams. It included screenshots of Vanessa's private messages discussing how to make my cancer story more dramatic to get more donations. Vanessa's response was swift and vicious. She posted a 15-minute video claiming Alexa had always been jealous of her and had doctored the screenshots. She said I had manipulated everyone and that she had only ever tried to help me. The comments were overwhelmingly skeptical of her story this time. Then something unexpected happened. People started tagging me in posts showing Vanessa at a spa the previous weekend, the same weekend she had claimed to be nursing me through a particularly rough chemo session. She was getting a $300 facial while posting about my struggle. The evidence was piling up against her. Her follower count started dropping dramatically. Brands she had partnerships with began quietly removing her sponsored content from their pages. But Vanessa wasn't going down without a fight. She showed up at my apartment building that afternoon, demanding to see me. The security guard, who had been briefed about the situation, refused to let her up. She caused such a scene that someone recorded it and posted it online. The video of her screaming that I was ruining her life went viral locally. I was starting to feel like I was living in a bizarre reality show. My cancer had become secondary to this drama, which was both disturbing and strangely relieving. At least people weren't sending me celery juice recipes anymore. The next day, I got a call from Rory, who ran the largest cancer support group in our city. They had seen the articles and wanted to know if I needed any resources or support. I broke down crying on the phone, overwhelmed by the simple kindness of someone actually asking what I needed, rather than telling me what I should do. Rory invited me to attend their next meeting. I was hesitant. I still didn't love the idea of being cancer girl, but I agreed to try it once. The support group met in a community center downtown. My mom dropped me off, promising to pick me up in 2 hours. I walked in feeling self-conscious in my wig and oversized sweater that hid how thin I'd become. The room was filled with people of all ages. Some clearly had cancer, bald heads, port access shirts, the telltale pallor I recognized from my own mirror. Others looked like regular people, maybe family members or survivors. A woman named Helen welcomed me with a warm smile. She had short gray hair that was clearly growing back after chemo and bright purple glasses that matched her scarf. "First time?" she asked gently. I nodded, feeling suddenly shy. "Well, we don't bite," she said. "Unless you're hiding cookies, then all bets are off." I found myself smiling despite my nerves. Helen introduced me to a few other people, including a guy about my age named Gray, who was in remission from the same type of lymphoma I had. "The hair grows back curly," he told me, running a hand through his short, surprisingly curly brown hair. "No one warns you about that part." For the first time in months, I felt like I was with people who actually understood what I was going through. No one asked intrusive questions or suggested I try essential oils. They just got it. After the meeting, Gray gave me his number. "Text me if you ever need to vent to someone who's been there," he said. "Chemo brain is real, and and sometimes you just need someone who understands why you put your keys in the refrigerator. I left feeling lighter than I had in weeks. On the drive home, I told my mom about the meeting. She seemed relieved to see me almost animated as I talked about the people I'd met. My good mood lasted until I checked my phone at home. Vanessa had somehow gotten hold of a photo of me at the support group, probably from someone who recognized me from the articles. She posted it with the caption, "Still playing the cancer card for attention, I see. #pathetic. I was furious. She had turned something positive into another attack. I blocked her on every platform and then, after a moment's hesitation, texted Gray, "Does the urge to strangle people ever go away during treatment? Asking for a friend?" He responded with a laughing emoji and, "Only if you increase your meds." The next few days were a blur of medical appointments and online drama. Vanessa's influence was clearly waning. Her latest post had only gotten a fraction of her usual engagement, but she was getting more desperate.